Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Luminous coming you guys with a Pro Dota commentary. Today I'm solo casting iG.Y versus MUFC. Now iG.Y you guys are quite familiar with if you've been watching some of my later casts. And same thing with MUFC. MUFC is a pretty powerful team, one of my favorite teams outside of the Euro/Chinese scene. Simply because they pick some crazy heroes and they build some crazy items on those heroes. And it's always interesting to see what creative shenanigans they have up their sleeves. And they will need some of that this game because they are up against iG.Y, formerly known as LGD, one of the best Chinese teams nowadays. Could be contender as the best Chinese team actually. So, MUFC's got to pull something extraordinary in hopes to beat them. And you see this destroyer ban? This destroyer ban is against MUFC because they simply love picking a destroyer. And for some of the newer viewers out there, you might be thinking, why Destroyer? Why is it even a good hero? Well, Destroyer actually is a pretty good counter pick against Anti-Mage and some of the other strong physical DPS heroes. Of course, if you're thinking about Lycan, without BKB, he can't do anything. He runs at you, he gets banished for 4 seconds, and that's not pretty. Even if he does get BKB, he runs at you and he's focusing someone, you banish the guy that he's focusing, and it makes him change target because he's melee, he has to run around like crazy. And also I was saying that he's a good counter pick against hero like Anti-Mage because the Arcane Orb or the Ancestral Orb, whatever that orb spell is, it is a pure damage spell, so it goes through things like armor, which Anti-Mage has quite a bit of. It goes through his spell shield, which Anti-Mage depend a lot of on survivability as well. So the DPS output of the Destroyer is actually quite ridiculous. It forces the Anti-Mage to sometimes even consider items such as BKB for survival purposes. And Anti-Mage generally don't go BKB, so it just kind of make him, you have to build him a little bit funny there as well. The DPS output of Destroyer actually could shut down a lot of other carry heroes. Simply kind of a 1v1 situation as well. So overall, a very strong hero, and MUFC is one of only the few teams in the pro scene that actually use it. And I'm glad that iG.Y is playing a little bit of respect to that, and they're going to be getting rid of it. Meanwhile, the other bans are somewhat standard. We see Ancient Aberration still not being picked or banned. And I've been talking about this in the past couple of my commentaries because Ancient Aberration is a hero that only team fights well. I mean, he does other stuff okay, like the Ice Vortex is good for slow, has a little bit of extra magic damage. Cold Snap is okay. I mean, it's a good secondary stun. But his biggest thing is that Ice Blast. But that Ice Blast only good for team fight, okay for ganking, and it always requires a certain setup. So that's why it's a little bit of when you're picking him when you're picking AA, you're somewhat limited in terms of you have to pick other heroes that goes well with the AA. But AA is not even in the game so far, as we see Lich, Syllabear, and Vengeful Spirit picked up. Meanwhile, we have a Anti-Mage and a Beastmaster being picked up for Scourge. I'm just gonna go out and say this: I have not seen iG.Y lose a game when they have Silver. I've not seen it yet. Maybe I have. No, I have not. I have not seen iG.Y lose a game with Syllabear. So hey, go next, right, MUFC. The reason that Syllabear in general has been so strong lately is that nerf against the Spear Bear that Ice Rock has placed down a while back. It's not too much of a big deal. Sure, you can't return the bear if it's under hero focus fire, but most good Syllabear players will generally keep their bear in good enough positioning where it can't really get focused down. And the bear with the rapid boost and synergy boost is a quite quick moving unit already. So even if it's getting focused, you could just easily turn it back, especially if you throw a frost armor on it, and it's going to have a lot more survivability. So I'm seeing a very, very strong push coming from iG.Y relatively early in the game, maybe 22 minutes, 24 minutes in the game, right when that bear picks up the Radiance, and it's going to be a very, very difficult push to stop. Especially if you have heroes such as Anti-Mage and Beastmaster, which I can't say they're good against the Syllabear bear. They're okay, but the roar, you don't want to use it on the bear, and in fact, you probably don't want to use it on the hero because he's so damn tanky. The Anti-Mage DPS output actually gets out DPS by the Spear Bear and the Hero Bear in combination. And also, I just like how the Spear Bear does well against Anti-Mage. I mean, if it's a long drawn out team fight, I bet you anything that Spirit Bear will get some entangles in against the Anti-Mage, and it's not going to stop him completely, but it's just one more thing that's going to annoy him, one more thing that's going to force him to use a blink or two, and just be overall a big annoyance. We do see the Brew being banned, which is a standard ban. I'm not sure why iG.Y is not considering in terms of picking that one up themselves, but maybe they don't want to be too reliant on things like melee, kind of a pushy carry. They already have Syllabare for that, and that's really good. So maybe they don't want to deal with the hero themselves. So a pretty good ban themselves. Puck being banned right now. So far, pretty standard ban. Weaver being banned as well. And I'm just wondering what these team is going to pick into. Of course, you do have Syllabare on Sentinel, so you can go into some of a pushy strat. You could pick maybe another pushing here like Chen. I'm surprised that Chen has not been banned or picked so far into the pick ban stage. So far on the Sentinel, we have two supports, the Lich and the Vengeful Spirit. But with the Lich, you never know, because the versatility in terms of laning is just drastic. You could put him as a support and make him as a creep denier, but you could always put him in long lane. You could put him in solo mid and use that deny and win the lane that way, just raw getting more EXP than your opponent. So he could be a very, very strong contender in terms of a solo laner and getting that quick mecha as well. Meanwhile, Scourge, a little bit more traditional of a lineup. They have the Beastmaster most likely going to mid lane, some sort of dual lane with the Anti-Mage, maybe with the jungler as a support, and then a long lane solo. In terms of the long lane solo, it's pretty much gone. Like the Clock, the Windrunner, and the Puck are the more traditional long lane solos. I'm not too sure what the Scourge is going to go into. They might run into some trialing themselves, so I mean, they might run some tri-lane lanes themselves, although that's very unlikely. We do see Pugna being picked up for iG.Y, so the hooks is up. They're gonna go for some crazy mid-game push. By the time the push is gonna happen, we're most likely gonna see a Radiance on the bear. We're gonna see the Nether Ward being maxed, Frost Armor on a pretty good level, well, depending where they place a Lich. And a mecha most likely finish on either the Pugna or a solo Lich if that's necessary. So this is a pretty strong push. That is going to happen 20 minutes in the game. And I wonder what Scourge is going to got in terms of repelling that. The hero so far does have pretty good AoE, the Axis, the Nova. But if you think about 20 minutes in the game, how are they going to nuke down a 22,700 HP beer with Frost Armor? Like, right now, they don't have the lineup to take care of that, and it looks like they are going to be taking a little bit of time in terms of thinking what they could do against it. I also like what iG.Y's got going. They have the Venge pick. Of course, the minus armor is going to be absolutely huge in terms of dealing the. They are going to pick in a like, and I'll talk about this in a bit. They're gonna, but going back to the Venge, right? The minus armor is really good. The command aura is also gonna be good in terms of boosting the Syllabare and the Spirit Bear's damage output. But more importantly, it's one of the few ways that iG.Y could go high ground. If you're up against a very strong tier lead team, you're gonna need that swap to initiate a team fight and then just continue with the push. So they do have that secure as well, and this is going to be a Chen last pick. So we are going to see some sort of double jungle most likely with the Venge Chen in the jungle, Lich on a solo lane as expected, and then the Pugna. And you can see the pushing power of this Sentinel lineup is just absolutely insane. How are you going to repel this push, MUFC? I'm looking forward to see this. They do pick up the Enchantress and the Lycan, and I want to talk about this Lycan in terms of why that might be a good pick. Of course, the Wolves DPS is not that bad, but more importantly is the How, because the How gives you a percentage. No, actually, well, it gives you your team some raw DPS increase, and that's pretty good for heroes such as Anti-Mage, such as Beastmaster, that doesn't have the highest DPS output in the earlier stage of the game without without some core items. But with the How's going to compensate for it, and what they need to worry about is that mid-game push. That's going to be definitely coming from the Sentinel. So How is a pretty good way to increase your mid-game TPS. Of course, Lycan usually go for that Vlad's first as well, so that's a pretty decent increase in terms of bonuses for the entire team as well. So I do like what MUFC's got going for them, but at the end of the pick stage, I think they are in a little bit of a disadvantaged position. They do have somewhat of a good mid-game push themselves, so Lycan Wolves, the Beastmaster, and the Enchantress cannot be ignored. It looks like we're going to see somewhat of a similar lineup. We're going to see a long lane Lycanthrope. And I guess he is going to guess, I guess that MUFC has realized that they are going to put the Syllabare on the bot lane anyway, so it's kind of a 1v1 situation. Although if you're laying against a Silver Bear, it's never 1v1 because he has bears. But I guess you know, Lycan has wolves, so it comes out even. In the mid lane, we're gonna see a Beastmaster versus a Pug now. I wonder where the Lich is gonna go. The Lich is, where's the Lich? Yo, okay, the Lich is right here. I'm surprised that he's not right in this lane, like standing right here to deny with Dark Ritual, but he's gonna do it right now. Yes, a top solo Lich with the boost speed, somewhat standard. He is gonna just shut down this anti-mage lane. Anti-mage is soloing, I presume, considering that we do see Crystal Maiden and the Enchantress hovering around the jungle. We're probably going to see, well, they might actually get a gank attempt on that Lich, but it's going to be hard considering that she does, or the Lich does have a boost speed. The Enchantress is going to come in and try to do a little bit of harass, but Lich is going to be fine. He's going to take some damage, we're going to tank up, no big deal there. It looks like we have that double jungle as expected. We do have the mandatory Smoke of the Seed on that Chen to give them that one free gank that they're looking for. But I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the top lane and this mid lane, because the mid lane is going to be determine how the game is going to go. Whoever has a better control of the rune and whoever is going to be able to push down the mid tower first will have the big advantage in this lane, because I feel like most of the other lane is going to be even. Oh, actually, this is a very unorthodox thing done by this Lycanthrope. He's actually going to leave the bot lane entirely free, and it's kind of like, well, I think I'm gonna get outlaned by the Silver Bear anyways. I'm gonna just farm in the jungle. So you're basically trading absolutely free farm on the Silver Bear, compared to, you know, some absolute free farm in the jungle, I suppose. But I'm surprised like that they didn't put, like, I don't know, they could have put any hero there, maybe even Enchantress. Actually, if you do put Enchantress, which might sound like odd and non-standard, I mean, Enchantress, if you think back maybe a year ago, Enchantress was played in solo mid position many times, as we see a huge gank coming against a Lich. Lich is going to take a Frostbite, and that's going to be the first blood being claimed by Net. How does this troll get all the way in this position against a Lich? So that's a little bit unfortunate there, as we see kills going absolutely everywhere. We did see a smoke gank going in mid lane here, and that traded 2 kills. Actually, Venge has gone down somewhere, somehow to the tower. Unfortunately, have gone down to the tower after the Beastmaster died, so Beastmaster didn't get the XP there. But kills going off here and there, and I think those kill exchange definitely went in favor of the Scourge. You don't expect your solo Lich to be dying, especially if he has invested boots of speed first. So that's an unlucky break for iG.Y there. But so far pretty good, because they still have YYF free farming on the bot lane. And you can see that his creep equilibrium is absolutely insane. He's basically going to leave his bear just hold position there, because you know what, he's going to be fine last sitting without the bear, as I see that he's missing quite a couple of last hits there. But yes, right now the top lane for the Scourge is doing a pretty good job. Anti-Mage not getting too much farm there, but definitely got the kill EXP and also the kill assist go there as well. Lich doing a fairly good job in terms of denying creeps and staying close to this tower. But if you're playing against a Lich, against this type of lane, you always have to be very careful of a push, because you're constantly denying creeps and you're constantly near your tower, and because of that, your tower is going to slowly take some damage over time, and it's very you're always in constant danger getting killed and then being pushed over. So it's got to be very careful of that. But let's check how the Silver Bear's doing. Silver Bear's 17 and 14. So I mean, this is for Silver Bear right now, this is nothing but a 10-minute free farms last hit session that all the Chinese player practice all the time. If you wonder what Chinese pro player do sometimes when they don't have, you know, their team to practice together, they don't go play pubs. They open up Warcraft and they practice 10 minutes of last hit. And that practice right now is coming into fruition, because YYF is getting nothing but free farm and sling, and he's showing it right now. 22 and 15 in 4 minutes, absolutely insane amount of last hit. Meanwhile, looking at mid lane here, we have 17 and 6 on the Pugna. Beastmaster only 8 and 3, so he's actually having a pretty hard time. Is he bottle crawling, or he's actually not even got the bottle? Because we see another kill going on top lane here, so this Lich is actually not faring that good of a job. But as we see Oblivion going to the top lane with a haste and a double damage. Let's see who's gonna claim. I don't think he's gonna get a kill, but he does have a haste rune. He might actually track down the Anti-Mage. Here we go. Anti-Mage is blinking away, but to Pugna very, very quick. Where's the Decrep Blast? No, he's just gonna run a marathon and then waste some time. Okay, no big deal. And let's see if they're going to put the Lich on the mid lane. I think that wouldn't be too bad of an idea. No, the Lich is going to come up top because Pugna doesn't have too much of a survivability himself. So far, one of the things that's going well for the Scourge right now is they're controlling the top lane, a lane that they should not have control. But here comes Enchantress, yet another gank, but Enchantress... Oh, no! Oh, CM went for the Pugna that was TPing out, and the Pugna actually TP'd the mid lane, so no big deal there. Very lucky for the Pugna. Definitely would have died there. Pugna has actually gone for treads, which is definitely not something we've seen in the lately. But now it looks like the Beastmaster might be in trouble. I think he's waiting for the cooldown for another blast. There's a magic missile coming from the Chant and the Venge, and they're gonna get yet another kill there. So very well done. iG.Y, which generally the solo mid player for MUFC, generally is a pretty strong solo mid, but definitely getting a little bit outclassed by Chuan here. But luckily for the Scourge, they're getting a tower push on the top lane. Let's see who's going to last at this tower. Lich being forced back right now. It looks like Anti-Mage is going to get the last hit, so Sharky getting some very good farm right now. Going for the very standard Poor Man Shield Battle Fury, Treads Battle Fury build, which is going to be very good in terms of a DPS output. Although I just wonder whether he's going to have enough DPS once the Eminent push is going to be coming in. And as the action died down, I'm going to check a little bit of CS here. We have Syllabir at 33 and 9. You got to keep in mind this is only 6 minutes in, so a little bit over 5. That's definitely a good farm. Meanwhile, Beastmaster in the mid lane only got 21. Pugna doing a lot more harass, got a couple kills, only got 29 creep kills himself, but definitely keeping down the Beastmaster, which is a very important point to point out. 18 and 4 is the creep kill on the Anti-Mage, and that's definitely not sufficient. Of course, he's got a couple assists, he's got a tower kill, he's got a hero kill or two. That's going to help out his farm, but overall you want to have a better CS. So we see a going attempt on the Lich. Chain Frost being burned right now, and is that... Oh, actually, he's going to be fine. And he actually might turn around and get a Nova kill. No, he doesn't have the mana to do it, so unfortunately there. But that Chain Frost definitely be utilized to keep himself alive. The Crystal Maiden is forced to go back home now at this point, as we see Pugna coming around. I think he is scouted by the Crow, so Anti-Mage got to be very careful. He does have a blink. Lich is also in position. Lich very bold, staying around with such low amount of MP. And here we go, Pugna is going to be backstabbing Crystal Maiden and the Anti-Mage in complete trouble. Anti-Mage, yes, the Crep Blast barely blinks out alive, and I think they have seen Crystal Maiden, but Crystal Maiden is going to TP out fine as well, so very lucky for them to survive. But meanwhile, on the bot lane here, you can see that second tier tower being claimed by YYF. And I think he's got 2 towers. Yeah, he's got 2 tower stats. He's got 41 and 19, and that's some absolutely insane amount of farm. He's got 2,000 gold, a phase boots in 7.5 minutes. And I'm starting to see this strategy of farming the Lycan in jungle and giving YYF some from free farming, you know, last hit practice, in-game practice. He's like fine with that, and looks like we're finally gonna see some gang going on. There's a roar. There's every stun, every spell in the book gonna go on the Syllabir, and that's absolutely huge. Not so much about the 200 gold that he lost in that death, but more importantly, stopping his farm for at least, you know, 23 seconds, and that's just absolutely huge. But in the meantime, Sentinel responding accordingly, taking down a mid tower. I just wish that Sentinel will pay a little bit more attention to Sharky on the top lane here. Of course, Pugna did poke in once or twice. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get too much done. But still, iG.Y in a pretty good position, even though they're down 2 kills. They're up 1 tower, and actually they're up 2 towers right now. Syllabir's farm is just crazy right now. He's only, I mean, he's halfway there to his relic, and once he does finish his relic, I bet he's gonna finish his relic in maybe 6 minutes or so, and then the Radiant's gonna be finished in maybe 3 minutes after that. So we're gonna see a very early Radiance, earlier than 5 minutes earlier than usual, and that's a little bit scary thought. If you see a 15-minute, 17-minute Radiance coming at you, that is absolutely crazy. But actually for them, Scourge team did get a Vlad finish with Vlad's Ethereal Impulse and how this Lycanthrope can do quite a bit of damage. She needs a little bit more level to pick up all those spells, but with the Medallion could also go into a Roshan. So we see actually maybe a kill attempt, or just a little bit of a tower skipping there. A lot of Sentinel support is coming into the top lane. So with the Scourge, I think the Scourge team, Scourge team is smoke up. Let's see if they're gonna make a kill attempt against this Lich or the Pugna. Yes, they do have all their ults on them cooldown, so they gotta be very careful. Chain Frost could do a lot of damage. The focus fire a little bit wrong right now. Chain Frost is gonna be Chain Frost can't even be casted. good focus fire, and especially the very necessary Mono Void to get that Lich kill very quickly there. So well done by the Scourge, yet getting another kill against CH. So CH, despite what I've talked earlier about how Lich is so good in terms of keeping up that solo lane, but right now having a little bit of trouble staying alive. He's 0-3. Meanwhile, Lycanthrope is bullying the Syllaber a little bit, recognizing that he is the stronger hero at this point, so he could just dive behind the tower, do a little bit of harass. But here comes the Trolls of the Enchantress. Let's see how good a chains. No, not the Enchantress, Chen. I don't think they could kill Nick though. Nick is just too fast, he has too much HP, and he's going to be absolutely fine. But that did give Syllaber, that did give Syllaber a little bit more breathing room in terms of farm, and that's going to be absolutely important. He's got 50 creep kills now, 50 creep kills in 10 minutes. Definitely have slowed down a little bit since his awesome farm, but still doing a fairly good job. Chen been staying in the jungle for most time, did get 1 or 2 gank, but more importantly, got a level 6, so that means that they have the Scourge have to do yet a little bit more nuking damage against the Syllaber to compensate for that Hand of God. Also, the Syllaber has, the Chen has farmed up to our Django of Endurance, so that's going to give that early aura that they sorely need. Does the Mecha? No, the Mecha's not finished yet on the Pugna, but I bet they're pretty close as we see a kill against 830 Enchantress, I believe. No, that's Avenge. My bad for missing that. Actually, I like the fact that they're keeping a lot of attention to the top lane now. They recognize that this anti-mage could get a little bit out of hand. And because of that, the anti-mage got 30 CS in 10 minutes. That's 3 minutes, bro. That's not going to be enough. And all of the meanwhile, Pugna doing a pretty good job. He's got up his way to almost a mecha. He's got the Mecha finish. I'm assuming the recipe is flying in at this moment. Yes, it is. So Mecha is finished. Now all the Scourge is waiting for is a couple levels. Of course, you do want a couple of levels on your Lich. You want to have a level 11 Chain Frost. You want to have maybe a Vlad's even finish on that Chen. Chen's definitely working for that. But all Sentinel is waiting right now is for that Radiance, which is going to be coming relatively soon. I think with that kill and that Lycan harass, they're going to delay it a little bit, but not by much. I bet you anything that YYF is going to finish that Radiance before the 20-minute mark. That would be easy for him to finish it before the 20-minute mark. But yeah, Scourge got a little bit of time right now. They could go for a Scourge, a Roshan encounter. They could go for a little bit more pushing, and you can see that Nick just with the treads and Vlad could be pushing freely, but unfortunately unable to last hit. But now here we go. Is this a gank attempt? And I think he is going to be fine. Well done. You can see that he was actually sending the bear away to get a couple hit, maybe praying for a lucky entangle and sending it back immediately before that return was even cancelled. So that's what I meant earlier about good Syllaber play would have the control to really take care of the bear and take care of the hero at the same time. Meanwhile, iG.Y getting a tower push on the top lane, getting it done as well. I think Scourge should really recognize these hero movement, because right now you saw 3 heroes on the top lane, so that is a Roshan that you could have brought down very quickly, and finally they are doing that right now. But I think they are ultimately going to give up yet another tower if iG.Y decides to push, and I think iG.Y knows, they should know that the Roshan attempt is happening right now, so they can get a push off. Ooh, iG.Y making a little bit of strategic blunder, so they're going to give up a Rosh and not get too much in return. So that's a little bit misplay in iG.Y, in my opinion. Or maybe they're a little bit more worried about gank coming up, but yeah, I think it's a little bit obvious that with the Lycan on the enemy team, you should be expecting a very early Rosh. And now Lycan does have the Rosh finish, and this Lycan could be playing a little bit more aggressive in the next 5 minutes or so. If he, he could basically go into Syllaber's lane and just go crazy at them, send the wolves at them, just even walk up to him and harass him. Most of the time, you'll be fearing death, but right now you're fine because you have the Aegis and you could respawn, come back alive and just turn on your ult and run out just fine. The Sentinel lineup only got 1 hard stun, and that's the magic missile. And that's the thing that the Sentinels got to be worried about, because they can't really do too much against the Lycan. So really, the Lycan should have mostly free reign until the Syllaber gets really high DPS. We see Lycan in the position he has invisible running around. What the Sentinel does got going for them is that they have frost armors on every one of them. It's not gonna really slow down the Lycan all too much, but it's gonna give that effective HP against physical DPS heroes such as the Beastmaster, such as the Lycan, such as the Anti-Mage. So this Lich pick might prove to be a very, very good counter pick to the entire Scourge team. So very well done there. Syllaber, let me check out his goal. He is got the Relic. He's got 500 gold in the bank. And this is starting to look a little bit scary because you can see that even without the relic, even without the radiance, the Sentinel is up 1, 2, 3. They have taken down 4 towers. Meanwhile, Scourge has only taken down 2. So without the Sentinel's biggest DPS hero, the Sentinel is still doing a fairly good job in terms of claiming towers. Unfortunately for them, they can't do too much. I think they are going to go for the Pugna right now. If you could kill the Pugna before he does his mecha, that would be pretty good. But unfortunately, the Scourge lacking the chains to do that. They do have the Roar, which is a pretty long range, long duration DPS spell. But I don't think they could really kill the Pugna before he does all of things. I think the Chen is a little bit out of position. He's definitely out of position right now. Ult being turned on by the Lycan, but ultimately I think that's a little bit of waste because he doesn't have any stun support coming in. We have Sharky going in right now. There's a Roar going, but there's a nice swap. Chain Frost is going to be popped right now, and it's bouncing absolutely everywhere right now. It's not going to kill anyone, but it's lowering the HP pool of everyone drastically right now. The Lycan Wolf form has ran out. We do see a buyback just from the Venge, TPing very aggressively as well. And here we go. The swap is off cooldown. Who is he going to go for? It's going to go for the Beastmaster. We do have Chen taking over the pick as well. So that's a lot of slow being provided. The Anti-Mage had to blink out right now. Enchantress doing an insane amount of damage in that team fight right now. But I think Enchantress is ultimately going to go down. But he actually has got the Tornado Whip before doing so. Can they kill the CM? No. Anti-Mage blinks right back in, doing a little bit of more assistance. And the Crystal Maiden also coming back in, threatening to do a little bit more as well. Ling has killed himself. What? How did Enchantress kill himself? I have no idea how that happened. But here comes Syllabear with a 16-minute Radiance. How is Scourge gonna stop this push? I have no idea. As we see the Scourge Syllabear railing on the tower. You gotta keep in mind that, like I said earlier, iG.Y has been playing this 5v4. And they're playing this absolutely well. So now with the Syllabear in picture, I think all really needs Scourge right now is just heal up, get a couple more levels on their Venge, get a couple more levels on their Lich, and they just go for a full frontal mid push. And I don't know what the Scourge team could do to stop this right now. I think Syllabear, then his next item could just get like a plate mail on his hero bear. I don't think he even needs a plate mail. Like really, Syllabear doesn't need too much of anything anymore. Like he could actually save for buyback and die buyback and TP to their mid tower, which is up by the way. This is really important. Then he could just continue and push, or maybe he's gonna make a Cloak of the Defiance, or maybe buy some sort of boots on his bear. In either case, this Syllabear has all the item he really needs, and it's just waiting for the rest of the team to catch up and get the levels. Pugna's got the mega finish. He's going for 4 staff, I presume. Meanwhile, Chen, let me see how he's doing his on his Vlads. No, yeah, he's got the Ring of Basilius. I'm not actually sure whether he's actually going for Vlads though. What the Scourge team should do is try to take down this tower, and I think this tower might be taken down if no one's defending. Yeah, it looks like they are going to trade the tier 1 tower for the top tower for the Scourge team. The reason I believe keeping the mid tower up on the Sentinel is so important, especially if you're going for this early push, is it gives you a couple options. First, if a team fight gets a little bit more drastic, and if it's a very important team fight, like I said earlier, you always have the option to buy back and then TP in. We don't see too much of that in pro games, but that is definitely a possibility. And the second important thing to be considered about is that if there's a long Roshan engagement, as a Sentinel team, you have a little bit more leeway to kind of TP in and extend the team fight. Scourge, you definitely have the advantage in all Roshan engagement, but if you have your mid tower up in the Sentinel, the mid tier 1 tower up, that's definitely the advantage you want to have in terms of a long drawn out Roshan fight. But looks like the tower is taken down, so iG.Y is foregoing those type of advantage. Anti-Mage, because that he hasn't had the best farm, only 55 creep kills in 18 minutes, he hasn't got too many items. In fact, his item set right now is looking a little bit shabby. He's trying to gank the bear. No, he's not going to do anything of that sort. He does have 1400 gold in the bank. I wonder if he's going to go for that standard. I mean, right now, if he wants to I'm a little bit confused because as you see, just Lycan gotta be very, very careful. Crystal Maiden and the Enchantress creeps is coming around right now, but I don't think they could do too much. The reason I was a little bit confused about the Anti-Mage's item set is that he's got the Poor Man's Shield, which is a normal indication that he's going to go into a Battle Fury. But then he has picked up the Vanguard, so I think he's investing a little bit too much in terms of survivability, which is overall nice, especially if you're up against such nuking heavy lineups such as the Pugna, Lich, and the Vengeful Spirit. But I think overall you need to do the damage. I don't think Lycan by himself does enough damage. He does have the BKB finish on the Lycan, but keep in mind that you can still get Entangle, BKB or not. So I mean, if YYF smart, and you bet he is, he could be sending that bear on the Lycan and then try to stop his mobility that way. Of course, it's not for certain, but if you do get that lucky Entangle, you could basically say, hey, Lycan, you're done for this team fight. So now here we go. We have that push before the 20 minutes with the Radiance finish, with all the team in a sufficient level. We have a point booster on the Venge. We have a Ghost Scepter on the Lich, so Lich is not scary anymore. Pugna's got the Force Staff, so they're absolutely prepared for the MUFC onslaught, and let's see what MUFC could do. We have the Lycanthrope coming in right now, but he's got to be very careful in terms of his HP. The initiation is on the Sentinel as well, because they do have to swap. I think swapping in the Lycan is overall not that. There goes his Aegis. Aegis is going to be down. So this team fight is mostly won in my opinion already, even though there's really nothing so far happening, because without the Aegis on this Lycan is actually very, very easy to take down, especially if he pops a BKB at the wrong time. So he's got to be very careful. He's at half HP right now. He's got to be where Anti-Mage goes in right now. Roar goes in the Pugna. If they can kill the Pugna before he pops the Mecha, he's trying to send him back, but Pugna goes down right now. But Chain Frost is going to be zapping. There's an Entangle against the Wolf. Very, very low. It's going to die to a Lich last hit, and now we have the Silver still at full amount of HP. He is absolutely fine. Trading a Lycan for a Pugna, they're fine with that, and this push continues. How will MUFC defend? Can they defend? Django is popped right now. Tower goes down immediately. Rax is gonna die in 2 seconds as we swap on the Enchantress. Enchantress dies in 2 seconds as well, and this is looking all the way bad for MUFC. 30 seconds, no, or maybe 20 seconds to that Lycan, but before he comes back, he's going to lose at the very least 1 minute Rax. Let's see if iG.Y is going to stay around and go for another Rax, or they're going to smartly turn back. I think they should turn back right now. No, they're going to feel a little bit more bold and go to the top lane as we see Silver. Very, very tanky at this point. 22 armor. 13 armor on the Spear Bear, and they are just paying no regards to that tower who's just like shooting puny shots out. They know they're going to turn back right now. Going to get a little bit more farm, heal up, rejuvenate all their stuff, and then come back with even stronger gear. I mean, like, even if you imagine that the Sentinel did not take all those Raxes, take all those buildings, if you just imagine how that team fight have won, they took down the Aegis on the Lycan, they took down 2 or 3 heroes overall, and they have lost a Pugna, and they're fine with that exchange. Looks like Looking Druid is going to go for Vlad's Chen. Not so much of item progression, but that's absolutely fine. Venge's got a point booster. The item I was pointing out, the point booster, the Ghost Scepter, the Force Staff, are all smart items again. All smart items you get against physical heroes, because you know they really can't do too much. Anti-Mage doing a very smart thing, pushing the mid lane right now, trying to get this tower down and maybe force a couple of TPs, but unfortunately he is up against the big creeps right now, and I don't think they push fast enough. Beastmaster is here as well. I don't think they could take down this tower before the Sentinel goes up to their top racks, and they definitely need to defend that. Lycan's got the survivability, he's got the Vlads, he's got the DPS, but unfortunately he doesn't survive long enough. That's the thing. BKB, oh, that could be very, very careful. BKB gets entangled by the bear, and he's gone right now. Here comes the bear working against the tower. Tower goes down, and they could turn on the racks right now. Actually, the bear gets resummoned. Yes, they get the resummon. I think Scourge right now, the best bet is trying to focus down that Spear Bear, even though it's got 2700 HP. The armor level isn't too sufficient. It takes extra damage from spells and things like that. So if you can focus him down low enough, because there's a swap against the Beastmaster. Beastmaster roars, but before he dies, so that's pretty good as well. But here comes Enchantress doing a little bit of damage right now, but again, no follow-up. Even though that was a long duration stun, none of his teammates was in position. Looks like Enchantress is going to go down right now, as we see many kills being dropped against iG.Y, and the entire team going against the Rax right now. Rax number 1 has gone down. Rax number 2 has gone down as well. And I gotta say, the game is absolutely over for MUFC. The entire Scourge team just gonna ignore the fact that Lycan's there. There's an Entangle. He pops the BKB, but doesn't go out of the Entangle. And that's it for the Lycan. Man, usually we see Lycan dominate in this stage of the game, but MUFC is just making it look easy. They're literally overrunning this team, and you can see that A, Silver Bear is absolutely insane as a hero, and B, you should never, ever give one of those Chinese players like a 10-minute practice session, last hit practice session in the bot lane, because they will make you pay, as evident here. It looks like anti-mage has got a kill against the Pugna, but overall it doesn't matter too much anymore. It looks like Scourge is defending quite valiantly. They might actually pick off the Venge. Venge gets sent back. No, Venge did die. And looks like they, but still, the Spirit Bear, the Scylla Bear is absolutely fine at this point. Yeah, there's a Frost Armor on him right now. Oh, I'm surrounded by 4. Let me kill all of you guys. Oh, actually, he might go down. Yes, he is. No, he's gonna take down one with the support of the Lich right now. And there's a double kill going on. There's a buyback from the Lone Druid. Lone Druid does he even finish BLT? Can he finish BOT right now? As we see Chen very, very low, and that is the BOT I was talking about, man. This Scylla Bear, absolutely rich brand. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his bear with him. And without his bear, he's actually just human. But no, he's gonna just buy back, buy BOT. No, there's a bear, and the push continues. And that's how rich YYF is right now. It's gonna just waltz in, literally waltz in, and just gonna win the game by himself. So very, very well done. A kind of a textbook victory, if you will, by iG.Y. Played most of lane as splendidly. Of course, CH did have a little bit trouble on the top lane, but overall, because Scylla Bear was getting so much farm everywhere else, it's fine. Look at those entangles, just hacks. But feel sad for Pugna getting focused everywhere, but no problem there. As we see, MUFC is gonna lose their final racks, and the GG call should be coming very, very soon. So not too much late game analysis I gotta give. I think the Scylla Bear just got too much farm too fast. Unfortunately, the anti-mage did not get enough farm to really compensate for it. And anti-mage does need a little bit more extra farm to really go head to head against this Lone Druid. And that Lich pick is just too strong. The Frost Armor, a little bit too much. And the Lycan, how often we see Lycan in his wolf form getting owned? Not often, but it happened this game. GG still not being called right now. I guess they're gonna just wait for the throne to be falling down. But Scylla Bear says, yeah, no problem. 10 seconds later, we will have the GG as the damage output. Whew, a little bit ridiculous right now. A lot of meaningless formality kills being changed back and forth. Just take down the throne. So I want to see the in-game score and then just give a little bit of in-game. There's a GG being called. And let's look at the in-game score right now. 146 creep kills in 26 minutes. You do the math, that's a heck ton. And you gotta keep in mind that he, like, for the past 5-6 minutes, he wasn't really farming. Like, it's just pushing. So he's missing a couple of creep kills there as well. Double Vlads. Vlads don't stack, by the way, just saying. But I suppose that maybe they realize they're gonna be split up. I have no idea what this double Vlad is about, really. Overall, very smart item choice. Lich has as a plus though, or a what the hell is this called? It's bugging me. I need to find out. Soul booster, goddamn. Okay, he has a soul booster, and overall, I mean, this game just opened my eye that yeah, you know, Lycan is strong, anti-mage is strong, but the biggest beast of them all is that beer. So. Man, very, very well played. YYF, this is one of the few games where you could just farm in the highest level, farm your way to carry the game, like overall, regardless of what your teammate did. And his teammate played splendidly as well, so you know what, very well played overall for all of iG.Y. MUFC got a little bit of maybe a little bit outpicked, especially against that Lich, but they played pretty well as well, especially with those early pressure that they did on the top lane. So overall, pretty well played game on both sides. It was a rather short game, but very, very interesting indeed. So that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and until next time, this is Luminous signing off. To you guys.